everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. Well, in this lesson, this is part 4 of 4, and so we're going to take a look at the rhythm part. So hopefully you've watched the first 3 parts where I broke down how to play the solo, but in this lesson we're going to focus on just the rhythm part, and the rhythm is actually pretty fun. It's something you can do on an electric or an acoustic guitar, so make sure that you go to ActiveMelody.com if you haven't done so already and download the tablature and jam track so that you can practice along. Otherwise, let's take a look at part 4. Alright, so let's go ahead and break down the rhythm part for this. This is a fun rhythm. There's a lot of different parts to it. A lot of people that play rhythm, they complain because they feel like they get stuck in a rut. They're not sure what they can do to make something sound more interesting. So I tried to throw in a few different extra ways that I would approach it anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and play through the whole thing with no accompaniment so that you have that as a reference. Also, make sure you download the jam track, because I did include a version that's missing the rhythm, so you can fill in that part. And you can have a full band to play with. It's a more fun way to practice, and it'll keep you on tempo. And I think it's a better way to learn, really. So anyway, here's what it should sound like with no accompaniment. I go into this other part that goes. And then it repeats and so forth. So anyway, that's the rhythm, and so let's break that down. I'll show you how to play that. The first thing to point out is we are in the key of A, and so the first thing that happens is an A chord. And the way that I'm playing that is I'm just barring the 2nd fret, the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret. And I'm only playing strings 5, 4, 3, and 2. Not playing the bottom E, not playing the top E. Just those 4. And so the first thing I do is just a downstroke, and I go. And then I play. And what I'm doing is I'm hammering on. Really, it's a D chord, but I'm hammering on, I keep the bar, and I'm hammering on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret with my middle finger, and the 4th string on the 4th fret with my ring finger. And that's what you get when you play that. And that's just a different way to play a D. You know, most of you have probably learned to play a D like this, but you can also do it this way. And so, again, you're just keeping that bar. That never changes. And I'm hammering, by the way, I'm hammering my middle finger and ring finger down. To create that sound. That's kind of out of the Keith Richards playbook. And so anyway, that's sort of the timing. Let me do it slowly. Oh, when I'm doing that, I'm going down, up, mute. So watch. And by mute, I mean I'm just putting my hand down and muting the strings. So in the beginning, just practice that. Okay, so that's that first part. Then we get to this part that goes. And really, that's just a G. But you're playing it higher up the neck. Usually, you know, if you're thinking a first position G, you play it down here. But I'm playing it up here. And the way that I'm doing that is I'm just taking the D shape, for those of you that are familiar with how to play D chord, and I'm sliding everything up and playing it up here, so that this is the 7th fret. Those 2 fingers are on the 7th fret. So the shape that I'm making is middle finger down on the 1st string, 7th fret, ring finger down on the 2nd string, 8th fret, and pointer fingers down on the 3rd string, 7th fret. And so it makes a D shape, but I'm playing the top 4 strings. So really, that's considered when you look at it on a chord chart, for example, that's a G with a D in the bass. So you'll see a G/D sometimes, and that's what that means. So just thought that was kind of a fun twist to throw that in that way. And then I play a D. Now the common note in both of those chords are that 4th string, open 4th string, which is a D. And the way I'm playing this D, it's a little different than the way that you play it down there. But I'm putting my pointer finger down on the 5th string, 5th fret, 1st string. Then I'm taking my ring finger, pushing it down on the 7th fret, 2nd string, and my middle finger goes down on the 7th fret, 3rd string. And so what I've created there is a little shape like that, and I'm playing strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. And that gives me a D chord. So we come up here and play this G, and then play that D. So it's this 1, it's down, up, down. That's the strum pattern. Down, up, down. Notice the mute. Mute. You don't have to mute it. Here's what it sounds like if you don't. It just rings out. But hear the difference? I personally like that mute. I try and kind of throw it in, especially on an electric guitar. If you're playing on an acoustic guitar, it's almost, you can mute it obviously, but sometimes it sounds better to just let it ring out. It just depends. Then I repeat this again, and then the second time through I go. And the chords there, it's just a C chord and a D chord. And the way that I'm making that C chord, I'm only playing the middle 4 strings, so 5, 4, 3, and 2. And I'm barring the first 5 strings on the 3rd fret with my pointer finger. And the way that I do this, some people use their ring finger for this. I think that's probably the proper way to do it. But I actually use my pinky on this, and I bring my pinky down on in a bar the first 4 strings on the 5th fret. So really what's happening is, since this is barring those first 4 strings, this is actually only playing the 1 string, but it's just easier for me to think of just go ahead and barring both of those. You almost have this double bar thing, and one is slightly offset. So see, this one's grabbing the first 5, this one's grabbing the first 4, and after time, after a lot of doing that, it just becomes quicker to grab that and make that chord. And so when you do that, and you only play those middle 4 strings, that's a different way to play a C. The reason that you would play, so some of you are thinking, well, why would you play a C that way instead of just down here, which is how a lot of you learn it. The reason that you see, especially on electric guitar, when you're playing a rhythm, that you would play a C like this, is you have control over it. There's not any open strings. Open strings get you in trouble because you can't mute them, you can't end them. But with this, notice that I did it without even having to stop it with my right hand, just by releasing the tension with my left hand. You couldn't do something like this with open strings. See the difference? Because you can't control them. So that's why you'd play that C. So anyway, the second time through, and I just took that same thing, slid it up 2 frets, and that makes a D chord. Okay? So there's the first part. Second part, I will repeat. This time through I play, and that's a sus chord. It's a sus2, I think. So it's a C sus, and a sus is it's sort of an anticipatory chord. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you're anticipating that it's going to change into something else. And the way that I'm making that is actually pretty easy. I'm just barring the third. I'm barring the the third fret with my pointer finger, and I'm pushing down on. I'm using my pinky on the fret 5, string 3, and my ring finger on fret 5, string 4. And I'm playing strings 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I love that sound. I use that a lot, these sus chords. So if you're playing a C and you want to make it sound more interesting, that's a really good way to do it. Just to create that sus. Guitar's a little out of tune, but... So the way that I played that was I strummed it, and then I played strings 1, 2, and 3. Then I slid everything up 2 frets. This creates a D sus. So, and then I just played an A bar chord. Of course, I did it like this. And so, for an A bar chord, really all you're doing is you're just barring the 5th fret, which is your root fret in the key of A. You're barring that with your pointer finger, and then your middle finger comes down to the 3rd string, 6th fret. Pinky goes down to the 7th fret on the 4th string, and ring finger goes down to the 7th fret on the 5th string. And so that's that bar chord. And for those of you that are familiar with an E, it's the same thing, but your finger replaces the nut. The nut is this little white thing. That's the bar here, if you think of it that way. Now if you want to move it up, it's an F, a G, and an A. So anyway, I always like to kind of point that out because that, some people haven't connected what that bar chord is. You're just simulating the nut basically with your finger. Okay, so so that's that. Let me back up. I'll do the whole thing. By the way, I just tend to make my bar chords like this. I don't complete it by pushing down on that 6th string. So that's the only difference in what I'm doing in that. And so that's just the F shape slid up to here. That's how I tend to do it. Okay, all right, so then the only other part of the song that's left is this little... And all I'm doing is I'm picking the notes out of the chord. So I'm just taking that C chord, the D chord, and then the A chord. And the C chord, for those of you, hopefully you know how to make a C. I'm going to assume that you know how to make a C chord. If you don't, it's all over the internet. And I've also got videos on Active Melody that show you how, in the resources section, that show you how to make a C chord. I'm going to assume that you know how to do that. But it's, anyway, you can look at my fingers too and sort of see how I'm doing it. But so I'm only playing, when you play a C chord, when you make that, you're only playing strings 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm playing the 6. So what I'm doing is I'm picking it apart like this. I'm going, then I go to the D chord, and I'm just playing 4, 3, 2. So the first part I go 5. I'm going to call out the string numbers. 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Then I go to the A. And I think I kind of strummed it, so I go kind of that first time is maybe a little strum, but what made it sound different was, and for that I'm just going, I'm keeping the bar there, so I'm making a, I'm barring the first 4 strings. I'm playing strings 3, 2, 3, 2. So it's the 2nd string, but this time I'm doing the 3rd fret. Then I'm going to release that back to this, so I'm back to the 2nd fret, and then back to the 3rd string on the 2nd fret. So notice the bar stays the whole time. The only thing you're doing is you're adding the 3rd fret 2nd string. And I use my, you could use your middle finger, but I use my ring finger for that. And it just repeats. Then at the end of it, I play those sus chords. So we're back to that C sus, 1, 2, the D sus, 1, 2, and then the A bar chord. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And that's the rhythm. So let me do the whole thing slowly. And there you have it. That's the rhythm part for this lesson. So that concludes the 4th part. Hopefully you watched all of this and were able to get the lead and the rhythm. If you ever want to share videos, I always love seeing them, and I like to promote those as well. So I'll be happy to share them on the website, activemelody.com, or Facebook or Twitter. By the way, if you haven't liked me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/activemelody. And on Twitter, you can follow me at twitter.com/activemelody. You can also join our community over at activemelody.com. There's forums, and it's just a great community of other guitar enthusiasts, and that's where I have all my lessons as well. So if you like this, you can see a lot more like that over there. So that's it for this lesson series. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.